Hey, what's going on guys, and welcome to the video. Now the vehicle sitting behind me today is a 2010 Ford Focus, and as you can probably already tell, the outside of this car is super dirty and the inside really isn't much better. Alright, so taking a look around, and it doesn't take long to see that this car clearly hasn't been washed for a really long time, as it's covered in dirt, especially on the back end where it's really caked on, and up on the front there's a massive amount of dead bugs. So it's clear this exterior needs some serious work, but moving inside, and besides all the dust in every single door jamb, it's really not a whole lot better, as there's a good layer of dust covering pretty well every surface in here. The floor mats are really dirty and grimy, and there's a fair bit of dirt and debris all over the carpets and seats. But just before we jump into the detail, take a second and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I post a new video like this every week, so if you've got the bell on too, you won't ever miss out on one. Alright guys, well I'm excited to get started on this car and see just how good I can get it looking. So as always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the transformation. Alright, so starting on the pre-wash rinse here, and you can see that the pressure washer isn't quite able to cut through all the dirt on the car, and that's simply because it's been on here for a really long time. When the vehicle was dropped off, the customer was telling me that the car hadn't been washed for several years, so that definitely explains why the dirt is so stuck on. But even though the pressure washer can't get it all off right now, it will come off really easy during the wash stage. Now in the wheel wells here, they unfortunately do have carpeted liners, and with the amount of gravel roads this car has seen, there's a ton of dirt trapped in these liners, as you can see by what's pouring out of them. So I'll need to be really thorough to make sure I get it all out. And to give you a little background on the vehicle, it belongs to a younger university student who travels home on the weekends and obviously drives on gravel roads quite a bit. And his mom was actually the one to book the car in, so I guess she got tired of it being so dirty. Now moving to the graveyard of bugs up on the front end, and given that these bug guts have been on the car for so long, they're so stuck on and embedded in the paint that the pressure washer can't hardly touch them. So just before the foam bath, I'll get some bug remover sprayed on to help break them down a bit before my washman hits them. Moving to these super dirty door jambs, and like I always say, the pressure washer is the best tool for the job here, as this really only takes a few minutes to get all the dust sprayed out to get them nice and clean. Now, not something I've mentioned too often, but when cleaning tires, if the cleaner turns brown when you agitate, it means the tires aren't quite clean yet, so I always repeat the process at least once, although sometimes 2 or 3 times until the cleaner turns white, and that's when you know they're clean. Moving up to the front end where all those bug guts are, and having left the bug remover on it for about 10 minutes now, it's got them nice and loose, and they really don't take much effort to remove. So if any of you are looking for a good bug remover, the link to the Atom stuff that I use is down in the description for you. Now with the car rinsed, I can see quite a bit of iron contamination on this paint, so I'm going ahead and using my iron decon spray, which will safely dissolve those iron particles, turning purple when it does, and then I'll simply just spray it off after letting it sit for a few minutes. And if anyone is curious, yes, you can use regular detailing clay to achieve the same results. The only issue is that it's going to take you a lot longer to remove those particles by hand, So if any of you out there have ever noticed tiny little rust spots on your paint, that's iron contamination, and it can be easily dissolved and rinsed away with a product like this. Now after removing all of the customer's personal items and garbage from the car, I can get started on vacuuming. And if any of you have ever wondered what kind of vacuum I use, I do have a garage tour video on the channel, and in the video I go through my entire setup and all my equipment, so make sure you give that a watch if you haven't yet. Now with this carpet being on the cheaper end of things, you might notice there's a fair bit of dirt that's really stuck in the fibers, so I'll typically use my drill brush to loosen that up, but I know some of you out there have suggested using compressed air and a tornado for these cheap carpets, and while I do have one and I do use it occasionally, I've never found them to work much better than the drill brush does. So as I work my way around the car with my detail brush, I figured I would mention that I recently posted a new Clean With Me episode on the second channel of my personal truck. And if you haven't seen it yet, I also posted another Q&A video last week that's packed full of goodies. So if you want to learn a bit more about me personally, or maybe you want to know what I charge for my details, or even who the mysterious Mike character is, well, make sure you check it out because there's all sorts of good stuff there. And you might even find out a secret or two if you stick around to the end of that video. Moving to the back seats now, and since I've seen a few people ask recently, I figured I'd let you know that the drill I'm using here is an 18 volt Bosch drill, and although I do have a 12 volt Milwaukee set as well, I prefer the Bosch as the extra power can come in really handy for stubborn stains. Moving to the carpets now, and in case any of you happen to miss last week's video, make sure you go check it out after this one, as to date it now holds the title for being the dirtiest vehicle that I've ever done. Yeah, even worse than the Chrysler Town & Country van, so if you love seeing huge transformations, that's a video that you don't want to miss. Here's the half bucket of dirty water pulled from this Focus. Gross. Okay, so getting started on the interior trim, and after spraying on some of my Meguiar's D101 APC diluted 10:1, I'll agitate with a detail brush and then wipe everything down with a slightly damp microfiber towel, and I'll quickly follow that up with a dry one to get any remaining APC residue. Now for this gross cup holder insert, I'll once again use the steamer, and it's able to really quickly loosen up the garbage that was stuck to it. So if any of you out there are in the market for a high quality steamer, I'd highly recommend the McCulloch MC1375, as it's an incredibly versatile unit and can make quick work of any crud or grime. So if you're interested, the link is in the description for you. Now, despite using the iron decontamination spray earlier, like I mentioned, it only handles the iron particles, so things like tar or tree sap or any other sort of road grime will still be stuck to the paint. So using some detailing clay, it's able to remove that pretty easily, and as you can see, there was still a pile of crud on the paint. Now with a coat of wax applied to the paint, I'm going around with a nice plush 420 GSM microfiber towel and gently buffing it off. And one thing to note when doing this is that you'll want to flip your towel regularly and use more than one towel, otherwise you'll just end up pushing the residue around once the towel is full, and it will not only be frustrating, but it will take you a lot longer too. Alright, last step here is to apply some CarPro Pearl to the tires, which is going to leave them with a nice, deep, matte black look when it dries. Alright guys, and 8 hours later, this Ford Focus is super clean and looking sweet again. I have to say it was definitely nice getting through this detail in only 8 hours today after last week's 18-hour marathon. If you guys haven't seen that disgusting van video yet, make sure you check that out. But anyways, if you enjoyed this one, make sure you smash the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Enjoy the guitar outro, and I'll see you guys in the next one.